I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup Series are going to head off to Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us here this evening. Big thanks to Connor Baldwin picking up the camera design for us. And as always, I am joined in the booth here on Mondays by the Bizzler, Mr. Patrick Byrne. And I tell you what, Bizzle, this is 80 laps around Nashville Superspeedway. This is a long race, man. And that's not putting it understated too much there either.
It's a good thing that we have a nice long race tonight, because I'm up the road at Tootsie's right now, and the bus is a little late taking me back. So hopefully I'll be in the stands for the end of the night.
Oh, that's hilarious. 1.3 miles in length, 14 degrees of banking at each end of the racetrack. Sam Hornish Jr. owns the track record at 22.9685 seconds, well over 200 miles an hour. That will not be a speed that they will hit here this evening, however. It is going to be quick, though. Let's take a look here. We'll pick up Derek Love as he is out on the racetrack for his first qualification effort of the evening. "17 cars in this race, and a total of 33, I believe, is the number across all splits. This is a big field tonight here, Patrick, for these Silver Crown cars. That also means your top split number is going to be big in terms of the SOF.
Yeah, when we get splits in this series, it pretty much brings all the cream right to the top. And I don't think there's a driver under 2,000 iRating in this field.
I don't know that there is. Just getting all of the graphics and everything loaded up here for you. Derek Love goes fastest at a 28.845 second lap. Thomas Lewandowski moves top of the charts, 28.616. He's quick. Jeffrey Stanton only a tenth and a half back. James Watson, 64 thousandths of a second back. Oh my goodness. These are going to be, well, let's just say tight numbers on this one here tonight, as we are down to 2 minutes and 28 seconds left. Thomas Lewandowski still on the racetrack, just finishing up his qualification run. Let's pick up Josh Batista, making his way off of turn number 2 and down this long back straightaway. He is currently working the first of 2 hot laps for that number 6 machine. As always, get us your comments here, whether you are watching on YouTube or on Twitch. We can get them up on the screen for you.
Did I miss you when I was over at Tootsie's? Because maybe we crossed paths.
No, well, if you're at Tootsie's, you're about 40 miles away from the racetrack as Batista scrapes the outside wall on his second lap. He's going to be disappointed with that. Qualifying 4th, a true 10th and a half back of Thomas Lewandowski, your pole sitter. Final car on the racetrack that will get a lap in the books will be the number 14 of Richard Malagani. Interesting looking paint job on this one. I gotta get a look at this one up close here, but I like it.
It almost looked like Sonic the Hedgehog on the side of it.
I was going to say, well, he's got Dubby plastered all over the side of it, but
like that almost looks like the Snickers logo.
Yeah, a little bit. We will have to keep an eye on that and see what's what here, but field is getting ready to head out onto the grid. Let's take a look and... There we go. Pick up Wes Shire. He's going to roll off 7th here, but nobody else on the front row is out here. So let's get you your starting grid here for tonight's races. They will only have 1 pace lap. Thomas Lewandowski going to be on the pole, lining up alongside James Watson on row number 1. Row 2 is going to have Derek Love and Josh Batista. Row number 3 will be Jeffrey Stanton lining up alongside Ben Carswell. Good run there for Ben. Row number 4 is going to have Wes Shire and Zach Evans. Laura Gerhardt, Joe Gauthier on row 5. Row 6 will have Brandon Buckberger and Zach Scott-Nicky. Row 7, Barrick Uphold alongside Richard Malagani. Chad Curran, Jason Steinhurst on row number 8. And the final car all alone here on row number 9 will be the number 12 of Stephen C. Thompson. As we mentioned, 17 cars going to take the grid here for tonight's 80-lap race. I'm still kind of mind-boggled at 80 laps being the distance for this one, Patrick. Talking to the drivers in the pre-race, this is huge on tire saving. Some of these guys talking about the fact that you really have to be straight on corner exit, keep the car from yawing, because if you don't, you may not make it to the end of this one on the right rear.
Not only that, but this is a concrete surface, and concrete is incredibly abrasive, especially after all the years this track has had on it, kind of sitting dormant. So, this racetrack is really going to chew up the tires of these cars. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a couple of cars get taken out just because they don't have a right rear left to drive.
Yeah, one of the interesting things you can see, the drivers here are splitting as they come off a pit lane. Outside row takes to the apron and up onto the racing surface. Inside lane keeps themselves down on the pit apron road. Field making their way around on the, well, formation lap, the pace lap, the whatever you want to call it. But pace car is in off of turn number 4. And as always, race fans, the start of this one Gonna be all yours. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, when we start to get into some of these deals where the drivers have to save tire, you're going to see a lot of this race probably on single file just because of the concern about the tire wear.
Yeah, as long as the guy in front of you isn't miserably slower than you are, there's no reason to go and try and pass him right now. As we start talking about them going single file, looks like the 6-star is going to try and make a move on James Watson.
Yeah, because that's what they do. They like to screw with us a little bit. Side by side, Watson just ahead of Josh Batista. It's going to be Meg Buzzell, Jeffrey Stand up on the outside of the racetrack. You almost have to wonder here, though, is this a little bit of I'm going to give something up in exchange to have a bunch later on?
Absolutely, and that's a huge thing you have to deal with at these concrete tracks because it's so easy to burn the tires off the car that sometimes it's better just to let cars go by you and pick them up easily as the night goes on.
So off at turn number 4, we'll pick up James Watson. He's still trying to hold off that 3 of Brandon Buckberger. Brandon, let's actually pick him up here and give him a little bit of focus time here because he is carrying the colors on behalf of Driven to Save Lives, the NRN Driven to Save Lives special. The month of April is Organ Donation Awareness Month. There are over 100,000 people that are currently waiting for an organ or tissue transplant. You can do your part to help save a life by visiting driven2savelives.org.
Flashy, popular.
Yes, it is. We always have a good time getting involved with those guys. Taylor McLean, Ryan Clausen's sister, is really one of the driving forces behind that program right now. Initially founded in memory of Justin Wilson, an IndyCar driver who lost his life during a racing event at Pocono Raceway. Justin was an organ donor. Ryan Clausen lost his life about a year later in a crash in Pocono, the Belleville High Banks. And the Clausen family has really taken things over to the point of creating the Ryan Clausen Legacy Suite, which is a place for family members of donors to spend those final moments with their loved ones in a time of tragedy and grief and just unimaginable emotion. Those families will get to say goodbye to their loved ones in a dignified way, and just kudos to Kim and Diane Clausen and Taylor and the entire Clausen family. They have done incredible things. And up to now, 80 lives can be saved with each organ donation. So visit driven2savelives.org. And if you would like to be an organ donor, make sure your family knows about it. It's not enough just to put it on the driver's license. Your family does have some paperwork they have to sign, so make sure they know what your intentions are, and it makes that decision process very easy on you. Brandon Butler holding off Jeffrey Stanton and Ben Carswell, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in line. Wes Shire holding on to 6th. James Watson just coming around Zach Scott-Nicky. Couple of Team Watson racing machines there.
I did not realize that was a Team Watson racing machine because that's actually painted in like an attractive looking paint scheme. It's all different shades of blue. I can get behind one of those. Why do they always paint my cars so stupid colors?
Yeah. Because Team Watson Racing.
And Zach is the guy that paints my cars. Clearly he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Zach is very good at what he does, quite frankly.
Well, you didn't like his graffiti scheme, did you?
That seems a little bit weird. I do have to say, that was a little bit on the goofy side.
It was supposed to be like a 1996, like, kid's fever dream Hot Wheels car.
Sure. Something intentions, ifs and buts, whatever. We're going to stay away from it. I'm really intrigued here, Biz. We're already 13 laps into this thing. Thomas Lewandowski holding off Derek Love by about a second. It's another 8/10 back to Brandon Buckberger in 3rd. Another half second back to, excuse me, to Jeffrey Stanton in 4th. I know you want to save, but you can't get too far back. James Watson is already 4.5 seconds back of the race leader. If this thing goes green all the way to the end, they're already out of reach.
Yeah, you do have to keep them in range because you are going to burn your stuff up catching them. It's just a matter of if you save your stuff to burn it later, it'll make it a little easier to pass everyone, but if you're too far out, you're going to burn all your stuff up just getting to them.
Yeah, all the saving you did just goes out the window. That's I guess it's sort of the tortoise and the hare theory, but the problem is at some point the tortoise does win the race just because the lead is too big. Picking up Richard Malagati here. He's running in the 7th position. A good run here thus far for Richard. Take a look at our positions gained graphics. Brandon Buckberger is your leader in that, up 8. Richard Malagati up 7. Good run for Zach Scott-Nicky and Jason Steinhurst. They are up 4 and 3 positions respectively. Fastest lap of the race does belong to Thomas Lewandowski at a 29.003. Last lap though, 29.3 for Lewandowski, almost 25.4 for Derek Love. So we've already lost about 3/10 and it's only 20 laps in. I mean, we could theoretically see lap times that are a second a lap slower potentially.
If not even more, because they're eventually just going to fall off a cliff where every lap you're losing another 10 bucks previously. All the way until that right rear blows and you're not going anywhere very fast.
A little bit of a bobble there for the Logitech number 11 of Jason Steinhurst. Called a bobble, not quite to the point of wiggling yet. He's going to have to look outside of Laura Gerhardt. In total, the farthest back that a driver is right now is Shad Curran, currently running in the 17th position, about 9.5 seconds back of your race leaders. Running 29-second laps, we're looking at least the halfway point before your race leader starts to catch up to some lap traffic here. we can bring the box up here with your race leader. I mean, there is really not much going on here for Thomas Lewandowski out front. The gap is starting to close just a little bit. It's now down to about 3/4 of a second, down from 9/10 just a few laps ago.
Yeah, it seems like Derek Love is on the attack now. He's trying to claw back to Lewandowski, trying to put pressure on him once he gets to the bumper.
Just up ahead of this fight, Scott Nicky losing the 8th position to Josh Batista. Both of these guys pretty smart drivers. Both fairly young, though. Zach Scott Nicky, I was failing out of colleges before Zach Scott Nicky was born. These guys made me feel old. They're discussing generations in the pre-race Discord chat. And all I'm thinking is, no, I was alive for all of them. I was alive long before any of you were even a thought. Makes me feel older than I actually am.
I'm not sure I was much of a thought. I'm fairly certain I was missing Vegas timelines go correctly from what my parents told me. They won't admit it was in Vegas. Actually, I'm not sure the audience can hear your soundboard from the way you port the audio through.
Yeah, that's a great point. I don't know if they can hear mine or not.
They can definitely hear my soundboard.
Yeah, they could definitely hear mine too, I think. Let us know in the comments. If you can hear my crickets or Bizzle's, drum kit. Yeah, what he said. Battle for the race lead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we gotta port a bunch of new sounds into there and get our own kind of drum kit going.
Yeah, I think we could have some fun with the soundboard. Whether it's... Nianjay Camargo saying we can hear them. That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Jeffrey Stanton, Ben Carswell battling. Well, they were battling. Now it's Wes Shire battling Ben Carswell. It's not much of a battle at all, as Carswell easily able to clear through 3 and 4. Carswell going to fight back to the inside. Shire holding on to the outside lane. Down towards turn number 1. Again, Patrick, we're at lap 28 now. We're getting dangerously close to halfway. If you're one of these guys in 5th and 6th, 3.5 seconds back, it might be time to start making a move.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking laps off a lot faster than we were anticipating, so you definitely want to start clawing your way back up towards the front if you were saving during the early part of this race.
Well, and a guy who's...
we're not even halfway yet.
We're not to halfway yet, and the guy who we're going to have to keep at least a little bit of an eye on here is James Watson. Not only is Watson leading the broadcast standings by 1 point over Derek Love, he's leading the overall point standings for the Silver Crown Cup. 875 to 834 over D Love. Josh Batista third overall at 751. Thomas Lewandowski at 666. Ian Lane fifth at 582. The broadcast championship is a little bit different. Lewandowski is third, but he's 77 points out of the lead. It's going to take a pretty big implosion by both Watson and Love for Lewandowski to have a shot. Josh Batista is fourth, 88 back of the leader. Jeffrey Stanton fifth in the broadcast standings, 100 points back of the leaders. This could be a big night for Derek Love in terms of these broadcast standings, because here he is running second and closing in on Thomas Lewandowski for race lead.
Yeah, he's been slowly clawing his way back, and Lewandowski is just slowly crawling his way a little further away. So they've been stagnating out, but yeah, as soon as we start talking about Derek catching him, Derek starts losing him. So I think they're kind of stuck where they are unless we get a caution or something that brings these guys together.
I think some of these guys are hoping for a caution, and quite frankly, they may get it. They have the weight tracker that they can work the controls inside the car. But it's not the same as with the fuel load burning off, the right rear starting to go off. These things can become an absolute handful more than they already are as they get light and the rears start to go away.
Yeah, as you burn fuel off, right where that number is on the rear pod of this car, that's where the fuel is kept in that menu. Once that starts getting light, you lose all the weight over the rear axle, and it just kind of wants to skirt around.
Coming up tonight, if you're interested in doing a little driving here on iRacing, the Fastmasters Series is an iRacing Superspeedway with the IR01. Because that's not going to be a dumpster fire, turning 260-mile-an-hour laps.
We have anti-dumpster fire rules now. So hopefully everyone keeps it together pretty well. We could have a lot of fun. Maybe some 5-6 wide 50s.
Let's see here. Nieje Camargo say, quick, start praising someone. We need some commentators cursing. I will put the ego on somebody. Oh my God, you're just going to outright do it. Wow. You're doing less dirty.
Tire doing fantastic around the outside here. Losing a little bit of ground, but definitely keeping it together so far. And I have no problem commentator cursing him because he still owes me, I believe we're up to 7 bratwursts now.
Yes. Bizzle King
Wes,
of
you don't want
bratwurst.
to get me my bratwurst.
I believe that's called extortion. Oh man, he thought about 3 wide into turn number 1 though. Hank Carswell going to be hung out to dry on the high side. Oh, Watson twitches a little mid-corner. Oh man, he twitched a little on exit too. Great battle back here. This is going to be 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And you can see, Patrick, as these guys battle, 5th place Richard Malagani, he's starting to be able to get away from him. This is the sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're almost to halfway. You know you got to get to the front, but as soon as you start trying to pass somebody, it slows everybody down.
Yeah, it's kind of like pack racing without being able to bump draft. If you can't get a line going on the top side, which is really hard to do without being able to make contact, it's just not going to happen for you.
Carswell back to the 9th position, trying to hold off Zach Evans. I'm still seeing Zach's Me Fine colors on that car. I forget the backstory of it, but it was pretty epic. We'll have to talk to him at some point and get that one. Oh! A little kiss of the safer barrier for Jason Steinhurst. Turn number 4, cross flags in the air, and it will be Thomas Lewandowski leading this race at the halfway point. Brandon Buckberger having the look on Derek Love into turn number 1. Crossover by Love down the back straightaway. This is what fourth place Jeffrey Stanton wants to see. Let these guys battle it out. Slow them down just by the nature of racing hard. And they're going to burn up more of their stuff. Wow, that was a bizzle. Nose chop right off the front of D1 by Buckburger.
I wonder if he's using his rearview mirror. Because you don't have to use that virtual rearview mirror in these cars. They don't actually have mirrors. So, he could just be flying blind around here.
Wes will need to start a pension to pay those bratwursts.
Yeah, well, we were betting bratwursts the other night, and we ended up getting close. We got to 7 bratwursts now, he owes me.
Oh, that's beautiful. How much bratwurst can one man eat, even if it is at a day-long event at Lime Rock?
I had 3 for dinner the other night. So in a day-long event, I can absolutely eat 7.
That just made my stomach turn.
I will say I did not make sides. I literally just made 3 bratwursts, toasted some bread, put them on bread.
Yeah, it don't matter. It's still odd.
They're delicious. I enjoyed that with my Belgian triple I was drinking. And it's amazing I don't weigh more than 130 pounds. A feat of human engineering I am is Derek Love now goes for the inside move.
Getting a warning from race control. Too many bratwursts can cause heart disease. Thank you very much, Race Control. We appreciate you looking out for our boy Bizzle here. This is going to turn into a dumpster fire.
Love this new soundboard.
Just past the halfway point.
Halfway? Alright, I'm done with the soundboard until at least lap 69.
Yeah, Nieje, I agree with you. I heartburn just from hearing it. Let's see. Jason Priestley, also known as 90210, is checking in the comments as well. Between Talladega and the Danger Ranger 9000, it was the week for flipping vehicles. Yes, it was. Bizzle, did you see that wreck on lap 1 of the Danger Ranger on dirt?
I did not. I saw photos from it, but I have not seen a video.
Oh my goodness.
And that was lap 1?
Yes, they were lap 1, 6 wide into turn 1. The guy who was running second got a little squirrely, spun back up the racetrack in front of the field, and then all hell broke loose.
Now, we've been to the Freedom Factory a couple of times now, and I've watched a bunch of the races they've put on. I mean, what they do is dumb, but they're not usually that dumb.
No, Cletus actually put a post up on social media saying, I don't think we're going to be allowed back for this one.
Yeah.
You know what? 90210, actually, I'm going to put this comment back up. The roll cages held up pretty well.
You know,
better than the NASCAR door bars.
I was going to say, when a bunch of rednecks putting roll cages in Ford Rangers hold better than multi-million-dollar top-level NASCAR Cup cars, all I can say is I hope that car went to the R&D.
Yes, it did. It did go to the R&D center. Actually, there were quite a few cars that ended up at the R&D center. My
As someone
thoughts
who
on that
hangs
is...
around
Yeah, go ahead.
as someone who hangs around welders and does a lot of work on race cars, you shouldn't have welds fail like that. It wasn't just the bars that bent. You could see the one bar broke off of the weld and swung about to the middle of the cockpit. and you just can't have that happen.
My take on this is, now the driver's door is more reinforced than the passenger door is. However, if you're going to build a driver's kind of survival cell type thing in these cars, then just build them to GT spec. Or build them with a survival cell inside the car. Don't half-ass it. Go all the way and build a proper survival cell for the drivers. Otherwise, quit the lightning things, quit the we're going to put roll cages on carbon frames and all the crap that they were initially talking about with this car. Build these things right, because they're going to kill someone.
Yeah, now that they're going to composite bodies and stuff that you can't really weld to, they're trying to make the cars more of a monocoque. If you're going to move away from that tube frame construction, you need to build the car as a full monocoque. You can't have half monocoque, half tube frame, because frankly, metal doesn't weld real well to composite.
No, you're talking bolt-in cages.
Despite what the JB Weld cartons say, it doesn't.
Yeah. Just the fact that you're even making the joke about JB Weld in reference to a multi-million-dollar NASCAR stock car, it's disturbing.
I have seen JB Weld used on race cars plenty often. Never to put a roll cage in, but it's good stuff. I wouldn't trust my life behind it, but I'd definitely hold that motor with it.
Like, let's not be dumb. Jason Steinhurst had a little bit of a moment. How about James Watson? He's moved himself up to the 5th position. Gotten around Josh Batista. And I tell you, man, Patrick, we're 55 laps in here. The battle for second is still pretty darn good. We'll bring that one up on the screen for you. They are starting to reel in your race leader as well. The gap is only 4/10.
Got a little bit ahead of himself, getting way out in front of the field, trying to run away, and doesn't seem like it's helping him very much. Especially if we get a late race caution here, he might be the leader, but being the leader on junk equipment, you're not going to be the leader for very long.
Yeah, let's flip the boxes up here and pick up this battle for the race lead. Still a long time to go in this race, over a quarter of the distance left as we are working lap number 57 of 80. Lewandowski is absolutely coming back to these guys, and the Crowns punch a monster hole in the air. So you can't kind of sell short the idea that now they're in a draft range. Even if it's just a little bit of help down the straightaways, it's still a little bit of help.
Yeah, you definitely need all you can get, especially Nashville. Even though it's not a super fast track, these straightaways are definitely long enough that having a huge draft coming out of these corners is a huge help.
Man, that second battle there as well, headed up by Watson, Batista, and Malagani. These guys are fixing to get really racy here pretty quick. There are also a couple other battles a little bit deeper in the field here. We'll pick up Zach Evans running just behind Jason Steinhurst. That's going to be for 10th and 11th. Also, Zach Skotnicki and Stephen C. Thompson battling for 13th and 14th. But right now, the action's kind of in the two main packs. The top three have broken away. About 3/4 of a second back is Jeffrey Stanton. He's starting to get into the discussion here as well. Then you go back a full 5 seconds to find James Watson. So there's two distinct packs that we're running here right now.
Yeah, those guys in the second pack are definitely hoping for a caution to try and get back to these leaders. We're past the point where you can naturally do it. You have to get it something artificial to bring it back up there.
Yeah. Just getting all the cameras here squared up so we've got the battles that we want to see on the right boxes. And man, I think this is going to get good here at the head of the field. It's down to about a quarter of a second between Lewandowski and Buckberger. Call it 3 car lengths as they get to turn number 1. Watson able to get past Malagani, who had a very quick blink there, but now Malagani going to have to try to hold off Ben Carswell. Almost like this is a little bit of a damage containment effort for James Watson. You may not get a finish inside the top 3 unless the leaders have a problem, or you luck out and you get a yellow flag. But even on outright pace, Watson's just not there tonight. But those are the kind of efforts that can win a championship, when you kind of outkick your coverage a little bit and get more from the car than you expected going in.
Yeah, they were struggling a little bit with the setup work, even all the way up to the time the race started. They just couldn't nail it this week, and hell, they're still doing pretty good. A top 5 is not a bad finish, especially when you have a field as stacked as this one is.
Yeah, I didn't get a peek at what the SOF was heading into this one, but it's definitely stout. Now, though, we're down to 15, 16 laps to go. Now you're really in crunch time. If Jeffrey Stanton wants to have a say, he's going to have to get a move on. Where things are going to get interesting, though, is they are starting to catch lap traffic. It's about 3 seconds up the road or so. Not quite there yet, but they're probably going to catch these two, Barrick Uphold and Sean Curran, with about 5 or 6 laps to go.
Yeah, and that could really shake up this race and possibly even bring out a late race caution, just because these guys are going to have to split those 2 cars. They're still battling for position. It doesn't matter if you're battling for first place or last place. You have every right to race on this racetrack. Being an oval race, there's no enforceable blue flags. It's kind of just hey, just to let you know, there's cars behind you that are going to pass you.
Yeah, they're coming inbound. Let's see. Let's bring this comment up here only because it gives me an excuse to say it. Despite what Jag will have you believe, semi-monocoque chassis aren't good. Yeah.
You just wanted to say Jag.
That is exactly right. That may have to make it onto the soundboard, by the way.
Why, so I can hit the button a bunch of times and have it go Jag.
Yes. My favorite quote from James May about Jag owners: never completely trustworthy, but in the most likable kind of way.
At least they're better than Ultima owners. It would have been great if you traded an Ultima for a Jag.
I was so close.
That's moving on up.
We can work on that one too. So, one car slides down to the infield. He's going to be out of the way. Let's see who that was. That was Barrick Uphold, one of the lap cars that the leaders were encountering. Oh man, and now Watson has to swing way to the inside of the racetrack. And the battle for the lead starting to get hot. Buckberger had a peek to the outside. These things may look like bricks, Patrick, but getting a little bit of clean air can be really important to these things. As Buckberger gets inside of Lewandowski. He's not quite going to be there yet, but the lap car is going to come into play with 9 to go.
Yeah, this could get hairy. 3 wide now through turn 1.
Oh, Buckberger clips the apron. Big wiggle in 1 and 2. What a save by Buckberger. Gosh, they're about 3 wide back behind these guys as well. Bottom right corner is Ben Carswell alongside of Jason Steinhurst. Zach Evans just ahead. But the big box has the fight for the race lead. Buckberger again looks inside of Lewandowski. Love gonna follow Buckberger down the straightaway. 1, 2, 3 in iRating. 1, 2, 3 on the racetrack. Third place running Derek Love over 7,000, nearly 6,500 for Thomas Lewandowski. Almost 6,000 for Brandon Buckberger. If they do this for another 7 laps, we could get another photo finish here on the National Racing Network.
We should change the name of this to the Photo Finish Network.
Quite possibly, because that at least becomes a tagline. Because I'll tell you what, we've done it every week for the last 4 or 5 weeks. One of the shows over the course of the week has been a photo finish. Buckberger creeps ahead off of turn number 4. Oh, but he slides a little bit. Love down to the inside. He's onto the apron. Contact! Buckberger goes around down the front straightaway.
No caution, they keep it green.
No caution. Oh,
Is he
Buckberger's
hold
going to
on
be
forward?
hot. He might. The gap's, it's about 0.4 of a second now. Oh, Buckberger on his way to pit lane. He is going to be furious.
He probably got a penalty for entering the pits wrong. Not that it really had a choice in the matter, but...
Yeah, entering the way he slid down to the inside.
The official penalty is called an unsafe pit entry.
So now down to 4 laps to go. Watson and Batista is going to be the best battle out here. Derek Love has fallen back about 0.7 of a second away from the race leader. Watson versus Batista is the battle for 4th. Two to go for race leader Thomas Lewandowski, already down the back straightaway. Trouble for West Shire as well.
Well, that's a late commentator's curse.
Let's take a look and see if we can see what happened to Wes. Oh, bounces it off the outside wall, slides down to the inside. That is not where he wanted to be.
You know, it might not be a photo finish for the win, but we might still get one for 4th place.
Yeah, I think we might. Off of turn number 4, checkered flag is in the air, and Thomas Lewandowski picks up the win at Nashville. Off the final quarter, the battle between Batista and Watson to the line. It's going to be Watson holding on for the 4th position. There is your race winner, Thomas Lewandowski. absolutely fantastic show we got here tonight from the stars of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup. Let's take a look and show you your race results. Lewandowski over Love and Stanton. It was a total of 2.3 seconds back to third. Watson comes home fourth. Batista rounds out the top five. 6 through 10 going to be Ben Carswell, Zach Evans, Jason Steinhurst, Laura Gerhardt, and Zach Scott-Nicky. Great battle there between Watson, Batista, Carswell. There was a handful of them there throughout the race. 11 through 17 will be Stephen C. Thompson, Joe Gauthier, Wes Shire, Shad Curran, Barrick Uphold, Richard Malagani, and Brandon Buckberger looks like was penalized for not clearing a black flag. So he will come home in the 17th and final position here this evening. Oh my goodness, what a show we got out of these guys, Patrick. And I'll tell you what, we got everything we were looking for in this race here tonight.
Yeah, that was a surprisingly fantastic race. You had the tire wear battles, you had really close hard racing, and you even had the guy getting dumped at the end of the race, which sucks if you're the guy getting dumped, but it's always fun to watch.
Well, yeah, let's bring in our race winner tonight here and talk to him all about it, because that one was, well, it was interesting, to say the least. Thomas Lewandowski, congratulations. Great battle there with Brandon over those last handful of laps, and ultimately a little bit of contact, and you were able to just run away with this thing.
Yeah, I wasn't like... Early in the race, I was kind of only like a 1 second gap to like Derek there for a while, and I saw Brandon was coming, so I knew he was gonna get there. I thought we were gonna go side by side until like the finish, but I'm not sure exactly. I think him and Derek made contact. I really didn't see that well because I just saw Derek like shoot low, and then I saw him spinning. So I haven't like looked at it, because I just left the server to get into scores, after the race. But that sucks for him. He ran a really good race. We were side by side for a handful of laps there, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it seemed like we were talking about early on the strategy calls that were going to come into play here tonight. Ultimately did in some respects. Did you wear down the right rear or use up too much of the tires? Because it seemed like the later we got in this race, the closer D-Love and Buckberger were able to get caught up to you.
Yeah, well, this they eventually got within the draft of me. Like after draft kicks in about 7/10 back, and I knew once Brandon got in my draft, it was only a matter of time before he caught up to me. Because it sucks you up so much here. Well, any track really like this size. I knew I had to save a little right front too. I wasn't worried so much the right rear. I was pretty good up to corners, but it's so easy to just overdrive entry here a little too hard and kill the right front.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic drive tonight. Going to be a good number for you in terms of the points with a pretty decent SOF as well. So congratulations on the win, and before we let you go, make sure you do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
I just got to thank, John and Larry over at the Drill Aisle, and you guys again for broadcasting these. It's you guys do a great job, and keep it the good work.
All right, brother. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here, and let's bring in our runner-up finisher tonight here, Mr. Derek Love. And I'll tell you what, Derek, the battle with Brandon there late in that race, it sort of seemed like you were in a spot where you had to go just based on the number of laps that were left, and ultimately a little bit of contact occurred.
Yeah, we got beef tonight, don't we? Goodness. That's all I could explain to him. I was like, and that was my exact, thoughts to him. I was like, hey, I had to run. I hate going down on the apron. It was my only chance. I had to do something, and I thought I had just a little bit more room. I think the apron kind of shot me up a little bit too, the way the banking is. But I feel terrible. I mean, it was him and I linked up. I let him go by. Well, he had the speed to get by me. I don't want to say I let him go by, but I was happy to cruise behind him and try to run down Thomas, and that helped us out getting up there. But very unfortunate, and I definitely owe him on that.
And I guess in the grand scheme of things, maybe he thinks there's an IOU that's owed one way or the other. But that's not really the way we see these things play out. It's not like the real world where you're going to, kind of run somebody hard, whatever, because you guys do that anyway. So do you expect some sort of, I don't want to say retaliation, it's not the right word, but he's definitely not going to make things easy on you the rest of the way.
No, I don't expect him to purposely wreck me. He's not that type. We all race clean. He's definitely not going to give me any favors, and I wouldn't expect him. Depending on the circumstance, I might, I definitely would return the favor. That's how I race. If he's got the speed on me, I'll just, more likely just let him go. I for sure owe him. I was there last week, and I know that feeling of getting dumped from up front, and it's not an easy one to let sit.
Well, I tell you what, one way or the other, you still picked up a big second-place finish here tonight. That's going to be big in both the broadcast standings and in the iRacing official championship standings. Last question for you here. What are your thoughts as we head off next week to Milwaukee? Same number of laps, but a place that's going to race just completely different from what we saw here tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember my setup for this car there. I've got a really good sprint car setup, so I'm looking forward to that. I need to put some practice in. I need to see. I really, at the moment, don't know. I was very happy with this result, regardless of, set aside the outcome of how we got there, because looking at the last time we were here, I started 7th, I think, and then it finished 6th. So definitely a big improvement there. Hopefully we can. I got some confidence in the team. We can hang it up front next week, I'm sure.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for putting this on. Anyone watching, and the Street Side Classics Silver Crown. We'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And now let's bring in our third-place finisher here tonight, Mr. Jeffrey Stanton. And I tell you what, Jeffrey, I know you don't want to pick up a podium because of contact in front of you, but one way or the other, you're still finishing third in what was really a good run for that 94 machine tonight.
Yeah, I'll take it. I was hoping I could catch them, follow and catch up to them at late, because I seen Thomas backing off a little bit, or falling back a little bit as Derek and Brandon were catching, so I figured I could hope to try to follow them to that. The problem was once I started catching up and getting a little bit more going, I just started overdriving and lost my rhythm.
Yeah, that was kind of the key to this place tonight. If you were not very, very rhythmic, you were going to burn the stuff up and ultimately just wouldn't have anything left for late in the race.
Yeah, exactly. I was very content taking it really easy on entry. Other cars that were around me, like Brandon, when he got by me, he was driving in twice as deep as I was. I was just content running, lifting early, kind of like a stock car.
Well, great run tonight. Congratulations on the podium. And before we let you go, let's have you do all those big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yep, thank you, guys. Hold on 1 second. My phone's going off. Amber Alert.
Is that an Amber Alert, or is that your ringtone?
No, that was Amber Alert.
But
I want to thank Napa, Rockwell, and everyone else that supports me, and then y'all for broadcasting.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for just a minute here tonight. And well, let's see. I think we'll do this one. We'll bring him in quickly here. Let's bring in Brandon Buckberger, finished in the 17th place tonight. Brandon, we talked to Derek. We kind of got his side of things with that contact. Talk us through what you saw from your perspective there.
I just got dumped.
Yeah, a little bit of, I don't want to say full-on Punterino, but there was definitely the contact there. When you're in that scenario late in the race, do you almost have to steel yourself or prepare for the fact that somebody could make that kind of crazy run off of turn 4 like that?
Yeah, I mean, just sucks. I mean, I know I didn't do it on purpose, but it's just frustrating because it's 3 bad weeks in a row. Not a good run for that Driven to Save Lives National Racing Network car. I qualified 10th, and I worked my way patiently up and just to get dumped and then get black flagged with 2 to go. It just sucks.
I was going to ask that. What was you got a black? I'm assuming the black flag was for an unsafe pit entry, just based on where you slid, and then ultimately that that put you back to the 17th position from what could have been at least a decent-ish finish.
I should have won.
Possibly. It was a great battle up front there with Thomas. Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to check in with us here, Brandon. Hopefully we're talking under a little bit better circumstances next week. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, the big takeaway for me on that one, you could hear the disappointment in his voice.
It is disappointing when that happens. It's the worst feeling, especially when you get dumped by a guy as clean as I don't want to say dump, but a guy as clean as Derek Love. It sucks when it's someone you know is going to dump you. It really sucks worse when it's someone you actually enjoy racing against and know you can race very cleanly with, and it kind of makes you rethink that. And I've raced with Derek a million times. He's not doing that kind of stuff on purpose. It happens. It's racing, especially when you race as close as these guys do. But it definitely sits in the back of your mind for a little while.
Yeah, it's definitely something that these guys will think about next week as we head off to the Milwaukee Mile. But time for us to get the heck on out of here and head on over to Fastmasters. Check it out in open. Hosted IR01s at iRacing Superspeedway. It's going to be a dumpster fire. Come check it out. Until Wednesday night, no TNT Shock Series tomorrow. It will be the Sim Racers Club coming to you from Martinsville Speedway as they get very close to wrapping up their spring schedule. Until then, we will see you all soon. For Patrick Byrne and everybody here at the National Racing Networks that puts these shows on, my name is Chris Graham. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.